God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
What you see on this television station is governed by IRCA's Code of Practice for Content Regulation. The Code of Practice covers matters relating to program content that are of concern to the community, such as local content, news, current affairs, and programs for children, advertising, including political advertisements, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting in the Bahamas. The code also covers aspects such as access services for the hearing and visually impaired, and the procedure for lodging a complaint about anything broadcasted by this television station. The code is available on IRCA's website at www.ircabahamas.bs. To receive a copy of the code by mail or in person, you may telephone IRCA at 242-393-0234. Family Island dialing is toll-free at 242-300-8722. Or you may send a request by email to info@ircabahamas.bs.
No limits to what you can accomplish. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. And as always, it's so great to have you waking up with us. Cooler temperatures still in the forecast this morning, but for more on your weather outlook for the day and the rest of the week, here's Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions.
Good morning, LaDawn. That cold front now working its way across the central Bahamas. We'll move into the southeast Bahamas later on today, and the winds will start picking up. We'll also feel some cooler temperatures over the next couple of days. Outside of our studios, mostly cloudy. A temperature a cool 70 degrees. Relative humidity 68%. The winds out of the north at 10 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,016.7 millibars. That's 30.02 inches, and the pressure is rising. Temperatures around the islands this morning: 60 degrees in Marshall, Babaco, Green Cove Key at 59. 59 also in Freeport, Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands at 69. 70 degrees in Alliston, Bimini, 70 in Harbor Island, Roxanne, Eleuthera, 71. 71 in Otterstown, Cat Island, Standing Key, and Camps Bay in South Andros. Fresh Creek, Central Andros at 70 degrees, taking you further south, picking up some more 71s in San Salvador and Rim Key. In Ryegate Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, and Crooked Island, 74 degrees. 73 in Betsy Bay, Miguana, Acklands, Matchetown, and Agua at 75, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 77 degrees. And if you're flying out this morning, here are some high-low temperatures you're likely to find at some of your favorite cities. That's going to do it for your travel forecast. Now for your boating forecast for today in the northwest and central islands. Northwest to north winds, those speeds are going to be around 12 to 18 knots, gusting up to 28 knots at times. Wave heights 3 to 6 feet, locally higher in gusts. Low tide takes place this morning at 11:28. You can expect a high tide at 5:13 in the afternoon. Now for the southeast Bahamas, southwest to west winds 10 to 15, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your first look at weather, the morning edition. Stay tuned. Your forecast for today, tonight is still ahead.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Meanwhile, our Lloyd Island in the Morning Edition team is standing by with the Bahamas First traffic report.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Well, a special good morning to you, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a great Tuesday morning to get your morning started right here on the ZNS Morning Edition. This morning, we are reporting your initial traffic report near the intersection of Wolf Road and Blue Hill Road. And already many persons are on the strip making their way to work and around the island. This morning, we're also joined by Sergeant Cressenia Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving you your initial look at traffic. Good morning, Officer Johnson.
A pleasant good morning to you and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas.
So talk to us about overnight traffic. What were incidents looking like?
Okay, coming out of the night period, we've had 22 accidents just involving damages. We've had 10 accidents involving minor injury, and we've had 1 hit-and-run accident coming from Grand Bahama. We still have 12 persons in hospital as victims of traffic accidents.
So some good news there with those hit and runs. Of course, as you know, here in the Morning Edition, we've been talking a lot about the hit and runs. And one of the focuses that we have this morning, later on in the newscast, is on, right behind me, these pedestrian crossing. Now, I spoke with several pedestrian crossing guards yesterday, but from the police perspective, what advice can you give drivers as they're approaching these areas, many of which are placed near schools?
But let me start by saying this. In addition to the new amendments, there came into effect the regulated version of the persons who go into the streets. They are called patrol officers. They regulate the pedestrian crossings, okay? So we're going to get more into that as we go. But as it pertains to drivers, in your view, as you drive forward, we have that broad view. Your windshield should be clear, and it provides a view where you can see all sides of the street. You should be able to see the sidewalk as well as the street. Nothing should obstruct your view. So when you're coming to areas that has high activity for pedestrian traffic, you should see some signage that advises you that, hey, I'm entering into a high pedestrian traffic area. If that is the case, you're going to see street markings. You should see street markings and signs. In that case, you now should be aware, and you should be paying attention as you go into these areas to pedestrians. And we have something called a careless pedestrian, and we're going to get into that, where they ask me constantly, hey, is there a fine for jaywalkers? Jaywalkers are called careless pedestrians. Whenever you're walking, and if you're in an area of a pedestrian crossing, pedestrians, please utilize the pedestrian crossing. It's going to help the drivers to be able to see you, and it's going to help you to get to where you need to go safely.
Now, one of those key points that we talked about this morning as well, while we know the pedestrian is clearly labeled, there's about 120 feet distance away from that spot that is still considered that pedestrian zone.
Yes, because while you're in that pedestrian zone, it's about 120 feet. You still want drivers to, even though you do have the careless pedestrian, you still want them to be able to travel at a speed where they even provide for someone who's making their way to that pedestrian crossing. So yes, if in these areas you're going to have it's before that crossing and after that crossing. A lot of people are not aware of that. But those zigzag marks in the street, they're actually depicting that area, depicting that 120 feet for you to travel and be pay attention basically to what is going on in that area within that zone.
And one of those points you talked about earlier as well, signage. Now, of course, we're in the Bahamas. We have accidents often, and so many times street signs may be absent or missing or knocked down. But again, once drivers are in city limits, particularly, they should be aware that schools, churches, banks, other things are in those areas.
Yes.
And there's a specific zone or driving speed.
Yes. So, for example, we spoke about the 15 mile per hour speed limit in school zones, okay? But we know that if you're getting to an area that has, like, for example, right behind us, we have a gas station, we have a church, we have a school, and we know that the University of the Bahamas is right down the road. This Blue Hill Road area, this is a hub for persons, especially for pedestrian traffic. We know people are always walking the streets. You're just seeing runners. We have seen all types of pedestrian traffic in the area. So knowing your area, and when you get into areas like these, adjusting your speed for the road conditions. This is very important. And drivers, we need you to be able to just focus in on the street. That's why distracted driving, why we're so down on that. We're discouraging that to the utmost. We do not want distracted driving, especially in these areas.
Now, before we wrap up, one last thing I'd like to ask you about. Here in the Bahamas, there seems to be a proliferation of vagabonds. And, we don't talk about it a lot, but, unfortunately, these persons do exist here in our community. Sometimes they're in the road. What do drivers do when they actually come upon someone who doesn't want to move, who's really in their view?
Well, many times I know people have experience, and especially when we talked about earlier with that blind spot. But when you're driving and you have that view, yes, you have that view, but that's also called something called a blind spot. If someone comes on your vehicle when you're traveling and it's like right there as you're traveling, sometimes you can't even see those individuals. So usually we have persons who will shout at them and tell them, hey, come on the street. I've seen one or two who've assisted them out of the street by even giving them a little something and say, hey, let's get on the side of the street. So in those instances, yes, they do exist. We have to deal with it. So if that is the case, if that is your situation, I advise you to be your brother's keeper. Help them out. It may inconvenience you a little bit, but help them out as much as possible to get off the street.
And some great information there. Of course, safety is always key when you're driving on the streets. LaDawn, I hope you're having a great Tuesday. And we are a little chilly out here, but again, it's a great morning. And of course, reporting back to you in studio.
Thanks a lot, guys. Now on to our top story this morning. The Bahamas collecting a number of accolades last evening at the World Travel Awards at the Sandals Royal Bahamian Resort. Tourism industry leaders from across the Caribbean won awards in various categories. And locally, Sandals Emerald Bay in Exuma, Sandals Royal Bahamian in Nassau, Atlantis, Ocean Club, and Bahamas Air all captured awards. The Bahamas also took home the Caribbean's leading luxury island destination, and Sandals Resort International won the Caribbean's leading hotel brand. Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, says he is proud of the country's accomplishments in the industry.
I'm completely, extremely happy that the Bahamas won as many awards that they won tonight. Bahamas Air won an award. Atlantis won an award. The country won an award for having just an incredible destination. We know this to be the case because our numbers in 2018 were up. Our numbers in 2019 are going to be up. The Bahamas continues to be a leading destination for vacation in the Caribbean, and that was recognized this evening in so many ways.
President and founder of the World Travel Awards, Graham Cook, explained why they decided to host the awards here in the Bahamas this year.
It's a very competitive marketplace, the world. The figures were released by UNWTO today on increased arrivals to the destinations. Nassau has the history. It has a history of tourism professionalism. It has a history of rhythm, of good service, and certainly the weather. I mean, it's obviously a big pull, but also you have amazing resorts at Atlantis, a big pull. Obviously, it's a casino destination.
Despite distributing nearly $2 billion on home insurance claims over in Abaco and Freeport after Hurricane Dorian, an executive of a local insurance company is optimistic about a brighter future for the industry in 2020. President and CEO of Bahamas First, Patrick Ward, is excited about strengthening the partnership between the company and the client.
I think most of the companies in the market have been able to negotiate their reinsurance contracts, and that's normally the starting point for us. So with that backdrop, we're actually quite optimistic about the long-term prospects of what the market represents, not just for us as a company, but as from a country perspective, when you take an overall perspective of things. And that's important because insurance is an important part of the economy. It is one of the things that keeps the economic engine moving because people need to have an element of risk transfer, and if that does not exist, then a lot of economic activity will come to a halt. And so we realize the part that we play.
Ward, a veteran insurance broker, gave these recommendations movers and shakers in the industry should consider once the market has been regulated.
When the new regulations are actually made and promulgated into something that becomes effectively law, that the appropriate amount of inspection and sort of counterbalance or back checks are applied, because there's no point having the regulations if they're not actually inspected and properly applied. So I think the inspectorate aspect of it is going to be extremely important, because one of the things that we found, and this is something that I believe the government itself has also found, is that those buildings that were built to code in a strict sense perform much better than those buildings that were not necessarily in full compliance with the code. So I think once those new rules are established, I think it's very important for the government to play its role in making sure that those rules are actually followed.
Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, is expected to respond today to a protest mounted on Monday by employees in the electrical department at the Ministry of Works. The workers claim they were overlooked for promotions for more than a decade. The Bahamas Public Services Union, it says, it has filed complaints with the relevant authorities on behalf of these workers, but the matter has not been resolved. Meantime, Mr. Bannister emphasized that the electricity department at the Ministry of Works has had the most promotions over a similar period of time than they've ever had in the history of the ministry. And still no word on the results of those talks yesterday between the Department of Labor and executives of Cavalier Construction Company. Labor officials are hoping to resolve a plan to resolve the employment situation facing 54 workers from the company who were laid off. Labor Director John Pinder says the group included project managers, warehouse workers, and clerical staff. Cavalier citing years of financial constraints for its decision. And still to come as you hit the streets, look out for those little darlings as they maneuver the streets with crossing guards. And the Urban Renewal Band and dancers making a name for themselves as they promote the Bahamas in the United States. So keep it hopped.
Hi, welcome to Dream Girls. We offer a wide variety of hair care, and your everyday beauty needs.
Here at Dream Girls, we carry a wide variety of products for natural or relaxed hair, such as ORS, Hero Care, and Shea Moisture. We also carry a large selection of weaving, braiding, and crochet hair. You can expect to find a private wig room, a large variety of products, and service with a smile. Whether you're shopping for a party, a corporate event, or your everyday working woman, Dream Girls can make your dream become a reality. Live your dream, experience your dream, Dream Girls.
We have 3 convenient locations to serve you: Village Road Shopping Center, Prince Charles Shopping Center, and Legacy Plaza located on Prince Charles next to BTC Cash and Go. Here at Dream Girls, enhancing beauty becomes your reality.
The Ministry of Health wishes to advise members of the public that prevention is key during this flu season. Practicing good cough hygiene can make the difference between you and your loved ones getting the flu or spreading the influenza virus. Good cough hygiene habits include covering your mouth and nose with a tissue when coughing or sneezing, and proper disposal of the tissue in a trash bin. Coughing or sneezing into your upper sleeve near your inner elbow and not your hands when a tissue is not available. Avoiding the use of handkerchiefs and towels as they hold germs, becoming a nest for the virus. And frequently washing your hands with soap and water, which is listed as one of the most important steps you can take to avoid getting sick and passing the virus on to others. If you have any questions about how to practice good cough hygiene to avoid catching or spreading the flu, contact your nearest community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Welcome back to the Morning Edition. Crossing guards are an important part of any school environment and community, as these officers are virtually the face of the school and the guardian of those using the pedestrian crossings. Lloyd Allen reports today from a number of schools and is speaking with workers who not only guard the streets, but the lives of hundreds of pedestrians.
Near many school campuses around the country, there are those all-important pedestrian crossings, and just feet away, the crossing guards who make sure they're effective and safe. These guards are strategically posted at most of the busiest school zones and assist students on a daily basis with getting home and school. Robert Newbold says his day starts bright and early with his main tools, his safety vest and a handheld stop sign.
My regular day starts at when I see my kids them at the pedestrian. I step out, hold my sign up, I look left, look right, look left again, and then I call my pedestrians across. I also caution drivers that this is a school zone and they're not to be on the phones, and they have to look out for the kids then because they're small and then kids tend to make mistakes.
Newbold can be seen from Monday to Friday, rain or shine, from 8 a.m. until 9:30, and then again from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the foot of the pedestrian crossing, doing what he does best, protecting students. He says building relationships with drivers and pedestrians makes all the difference.
You have a lot of people that appreciate what I'm doing, and a lot of them, they comment me on the job that I'm doing, the type of job that I'm doing a very well job, and so forth, and I appreciate the comments from everybody.
Newbold says the height of foot traffic happens between 8 and 8:45 a.m., and at that time, he puts every effort into being alert and responsive. Holding his stop sign as high as possible, Newbold says you could never be too careful. Vice Principal at Columbus Primary, Clara Newbold, says her namesake is an exceptional employee.
He's a phenomenal crossing guard, and he has been working with us for many years. And you would see he does what he does in an excellent way. He takes his time. He's appreciated by us here at the school, by the parents, the teachers, the students, and of course the parents. You see how he interacts with them on a daily basis when he takes the student across the street.
Over at Yellow Elder Primary, crossing guard Anthony Roll says he has served as a guard for 4 years, with the longest stint at his current posting. He says Blue Hill Road being a dual carriageway creates a challenge, as many drivers are not observant of speed limits. As his job is to get all pedestrians from one side of the street to the other, he says coordination is key.
First thing first, I make sure my kids them all right. Make sure they safely on the side. Before I enter the road, I got to make sure they all right first. And then you see if I get the first vehicle stop on the first side, because you know Blue Road is 2 lane. So I got to make sure one side slow down so I can walk in the middle of the road to stop the next side. Then I look at my kids, get them the okay to come across the road safe.
Now a word to drivers. Observe speed limits, especially in school zones. Be alert for unfocused pedestrians and always drive with safety in mind, as the life you save may in fact be your own. For the Morning Edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Art is a creative industry, but in modern societies, many may find themselves struggling to break through the market. Crystal Darling speaks to a Bahamian artist, Rembert Mortimer, about his journey in the industry.
Being an artist in the Bahamas, you have to be different, and you have to have a strong mentality to understand that there's a path and you just have to find it.
With hands steadily at work and the focused glare of perfection in his eyes, Bahamian artist Rembert Mortimer has paved his way into the country's narrow artist market. Our news team met up with the 29-year-old artist at Fusion Superplex to learn more about his world of artistry. He says drawing caricatures, which are pictures that depict individuals with exaggerated characteristics, is his specialty.
I have a particular style called Wayne. Wayne is how I got money. Bahamians, they ain't want their head too big, and they ain't want their nose too ugly. So I had to find a way to make it something nice that was unique. And when I went off internationally, I discovered at many conferences, there are so many styles and so many ways to draw one face. It's just about looking on a wall and being able to say, oh, Ren did that.
And Mortimer had some advice for young and budding artists who are trying to break through in the market.
They just have to get used to the laws. You have to learn about terms and agreement, about the business of it. You have to learn not to let people swing you. And I've been swung. My first client owed me $2,000. I got $50. And it's about not sending your work. It's about stop posting the finished product and leave the surprise element. So they have to learn the business, and then they can get on their ways. But it's very difficult to be an artist in the Bahamas. There is another style that nobody's doing over here, which is digital caricatures. And it's the way forward. For digital, you should be able to do anywhere from 3 to 5. And that's just an international standard if you're looking to go abroad.
Then he offered to draw me. And after a few minutes of eagerly waiting, I was blown away by the finished product.
The spirit of caricatures is about me seeing you, feeling your essence, your spirit, communicating, customer service, and then I give you something to attach onto this piece of paper. I give you a memory, and you carry that, and then when I turn around and show you, you not only get a rendition of yourself, you have a memory and an experience that you can attach to it.
Mortimer says that although he has found his footing in the market, it took a lot of effort and sacrifice. His advice to those coming up in the field is not to be discouraged and to chase after the dream.
I gave up on it and did my bachelor's degree at the University of the Bahamas, and then I came back to it because it was my first love and it was my solution, and I've never regretted that decision.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Great story there, Crystal. Well, you may have seen these amazing performers at a showcase somewhere around Nassau, but today Anthony Smith is giving us an inside look at the dancers from the Deja Vu troupe. Take a look.
At Deja Vu Dance Team Practice, these performers learn more than just 8 counts.
We teach more than just dance. We teach family.
In fact, the team captains themselves would tell you nothing here is routine, as every practice session is a new lesson.
I learned to be mature,
I've learned to take responsibility. There's no I in team.
The dance team is an extension of Urban Renewal's community outreach. Together now for more than 2 years, troop leader Aisha Claire says the group not only helps girls refine their dance skills and technique, but provides a good foundation for building character.
We believe in the whole person, not just your entertainment or what you can do. We believe in all of you and empowering all of you. So we use this program not just to teach dance movements, but to empower young people to go out there and seize the world, actually. We're not just in the urban areas, you know what I mean? We go out and we perform internationally.
And the dancers just recently returned from an overseas trip where they flexed their skills for a new crowd. It's this kind of exposure that parents hope will lead to more opportunities for their kids and encourage them to train harder, work more passionately and diligently.
That discipline helped her to learn how to deal with conflict, help her to learn how to deal with other persons who she may not be used to, socializing, and also in a professional manner.
With the first competition of 2020 behind them, there's so much more to look forward to. And if troop leader Aisha Claire has it her way, the girls will be ready for anything that comes.
We want them to be able to be ahead of the game, not behind. So a lot of seminars, a lot of getting together and showing them this is the way to do things, that's the way to do things, and have them prepared for life. We're preparing them for life, and most definitely the world.
Antoinette Smith, ZNS Network News.
Good story there, Antoinette. Thanks a lot. We've used them all our lives, but the penny is now approaching its final days. Lloyd Allen takes a closer look at the history of the penny.
The sound of coins is unmistakable, but the penny, probably the most common, may soon become a thing of the past. The history of the penny goes back over 1,200 years, as the first pennies were made all the way back in 790 A.D. The word penny and its variations across Europe, including the German Pfennig and the Swedish penning, originally denoting any sort of coin or money, not just a small denomination. As technology continues to transform the world as we know it, items like the penny may soon come to an end. External Relations Officer at the Central Bank, Kevin Demerit, explains.
In 2018, the Central Bank conducted a study to determine the usefulness, the value, and the usability of the penny and continuing to produce and distribute the penny. What we found three things that impacted our decision.
Even before the modern penny, there was the larger version.
We have persons who expressed some nostalgic interest in those as collector's items or even as jewelry items. But in terms of the usefulness of the penny itself, that's not quite where it used to be.
But what about some of those other rare pieces that we all remember from our youth?
Well, the 15 cent, the $3 and the 50 cents continue to be legal tender in the Bahamas and continue to retain their value relative to the cost of producing them, which is very different from the penny itself. And then we also found that those particular 15 cents, $3 and 50 cents has a certain interest and desire by collectors.
So while there is much talk of what the future of banking will look like, one thing is certain, according to Demerit.
We expect that as our economy and as the global economy develops, we have more electronic means of payments. There used to be a time when we didn't have the debit cards or the credit cards, and we didn't even have checkbooks. So we have gradually seen over the years a movement away from cash, and we certainly expect that to continue as we move forward.
Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Lloyd. And it's a landmark day for a local church here in our community, so stay close.
Every dream needs a gentle push. Every tomorrow needs a warm embrace. Every ambition needs hope to take flight and the faith to pursue a unique goal. At Commonwealth Bank, we make it happen for you. Today, tomorrow, and into the future. Commonwealth Bank. Everything we do it for you.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed luck.
That's how Rough Riders roll. It's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
Buddy Hield and the Kings have their...
Buddy Hield seems to be having the best season of his career. He had 32 points the other night. It was a bit disappointing, Shawnee Miller not winning the IWF World Female Athlete of the Year. The high school rankings will soon be out. Tabernacle, the defending champion, CC Sweeting, they are always there. Who will it be this year? Each Monday on 1540 AM and 104.5 FM, it's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
The Pacers of the R.M. Bailey Senior High School, building on the motto of excellence is their hallmark after the students' performance level improved last term. Senior Mistress and Grade 10 Supervisor Chevelle Hepburn says she is excited to see that the students are putting a lot more effort into applying themselves academically.
We are celebrating 74% A through C, or in other words, 2.00. There are 74% of the students in our school who have attained that grade point average, and we're excited about it. Last summer, we celebrated 68%. We set a goal to move to 85%. Now, while we did not achieve 85%, today we are at 74%, and we're going to get to that 85% by June of 2020. Our 10th graders are at 77%, our 11th graders are at 78%, and our 12th graders are at 74%. So we are excited about the movement going on here at R.M. Bailey.
Principal Colin Johnson says although there was a setback with the printing for the National Report Card Day last year, he welcomes the positive change among the students.
I always say the main attribute to success is discipline. When they are disciplined, they're focused. And when they're focused, they are successful. And that is what we have here at this institution. And so I feel wonderful. I feel great about the achievements of the students this past time. We try to get our kids to buy into what we are selling. And they did. It's wonderful when I'm out on Robinson Road after school, the kids passing by and they're talking about what they want to achieve this time.
Well, we've got a live report coming from a local Anglican church in the Over the Hill community, so stay close.
Janae's Chesapeake Road is having a big tent clearance sale. Everything must go. Christmas decorations, toys, bridal and formal wear. Everything must go. Get up to 75% off. Up to 75% off everything under the tent, including the tent. Big savings on decorative mesh, Christmas ornaments, wreaths, Christmas lights, girls and boys toys, standard bikes and electronic bikes. Hurry into Janae's Chesapeake Road big tent clearance sale. No exchanges or refunds on sale items. All sales final.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Insurance Board, founded on October 7th, 1974, was one of the foundational pillars of the New Bahamas. This year, NIB celebrates 45 years of service through Social Security by providing a funeral benefit for the loss of a loved one, partial income replacement for unemployment, sickness, maternity and injury benefits, pension payments for retirement, invalidity, and survivors. These benefits have ensured that Bahamians have income during times when they need it most. NIB, celebrating 45 years of service in the Bahamas.
Colon cancer is the third most common cancer affecting Bahamians. Your risk of developing colon cancer is increased if you have a personal history of colorectal cancer or colon polyps, a family history of colon cancer, or inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis. Other factors that can increase your risk of developing colon cancer are low fiber, high fat diets, a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, smoking, and alcohol. You can take steps to reduce your risk of colon cancer by making specific lifestyle changes. Eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These foods contain fiber, minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants, which may play a role in cancer prevention. Drink alcohol in moderation or not at all. Do not smoke. Exercise with a goal of getting in at least 30 minutes each day. If you've been inactive, start slowly and gradually build up to 30 minutes. Also, talk to your doctor before starting any exercise program. Maintain a healthy weight. If you're at a healthy weight, maintain it by combining a well-balanced diet with daily exercise. If you need to lose weight, ask your doctor about healthy ways to achieve your goal. Colon cancer screening can also help to prevent colon cancer or lead to its early detection when treatment is most effective. If you're 45 years or older, speak to your doctor about having a colonoscopy or some form of colon cancer screening that may be appropriate for you. I'm Dr. Eugene Marcus Cooper. Pay attention to your health. Get the facts and discuss colon cancer with your physician today.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Red-letter days for the Anglican community, in particular, St. Agnes Anglican Church. That parish is observing a significant anniversary, and that's where we join again our Lloyd Allen. Good morning again, Lloyd.
Well, good morning again, LaDawn. This morning, I'm switching scenes. I'm at the site of St. Agnes Church, where this year it's celebrating 175 years. That official ceremony is set to take place on July 12th. But early in the year, of course, those ceremonies and celebrations getting off to an early start. And this morning, I'm joined by Archdeacon Keith Cartwright, who's going to talk to us a little bit about what the build-up to that celebration is going to look like. Good morning, Father Cartwright.
Good morning to you. And good morning, Bahamas. Yes, today, the 21st of January, is the Feast of St. Agnes itself. In 2020, as you rightly said, we are celebrating 175 years of ministry here in Grantstown over the hill. And so we thought that we will start off the celebrations with St. Agnes Day itself, which is today. And of course, St. Agnes is our patron saint of this church. She was a young girl born in Rome in a very wealthy family, and she dedicated her life to Christ and to the Lord. And at a very young age, you know, those young maidens are sought after, particularly those who are from wealthy families. And she was, and of course, she said no to all of those who approached her. She said that she was already sorted by our Lord himself, and so she refused. Of course, that refusal led to her eventual being martyred. And so she died at age 12 for the Lord, and so she is the patron saint of young girls and young people. And of course, she was indeed sexually assaulted before she was martyred, and so she's the patron saint of those who have gone through rape. And so St. Agnes is really a celebration for young people. And so we give God thanks for 175 years that our church, who is named after St. Agnes, has been ministering in these over-the-hill parts of our community, particularly in Grantstown and Bainstown. The history of the church is a wonderful history, and one of the main hallmarks is our starting of education for the masses over the hill. Our second rector, Father Rogers, was our first rector, or priest, but our second rector, Father Woodcock, started a school here in the over-the-hill area, and that grew from strength to strength. Of course, today the government has the school named after Father Woodcock, but in the end, we have a wonderful history in education. In the social outreach area, the church has always been a beacon of hope for those who are oppressed, those who are downtrodden. It still is today. And, of course, we have a lot of ministries that we have going on, the men's ministry, the women's ministry, the youth ministry, and all manner of ministries go on here at St. Agnes. We are a wonderful church. We have over 1,500 members, and we hope to grow that number. And I'm just privileged to be here now. I came here in October. Of course, I grew up here. And I went from here to seminary, and now I'm back here as the rector here at this particular time. So I just want to say St. Agnes is the church over the hill. And we are proud of our church, and we are delighted to celebrate in grand style our patronal festival on Sunday at 3 o'clock. And we invite all of our St. Agnes persons who are scattered throughout the Bahamas, and particularly those in New Providence, to come back home and join us on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
So a lot of information. I feel like you gave me a history lesson just now. I actually am a former student of Woodcock Primary. I actually did not know the history behind that. Thank you so much for that. But as you toured the inside with me just now, I saw a lot of photos. One of those photos, 1833, I think I saw.
1855.
1855. The church first established.
In 1845, but that was the picture 10 years after it was established. And so we have several of photos that have been kept over the years, and you can have a look at those afterwards.
And so a very iconic church here in the over the hill area. Now, one of those things, I'm obviously not a member here at your church, but one of those things that I think most people have noticed, a few years ago during Hurricane Matthew, a part of your bell tower was destroyed. What is the process of really restoring that?
What we have done is we have already restored the engineering part of it and the structural part of it. And now we are just awaiting the installation of the louvers, and that will be the final part of it. But we have already gone through the engineering part of it. We have already gone through the preparation for it and all the works necessary. So we're just awaiting, and they should be here by next week.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, oftentimes we see it with government, we see it with the royals, but also with the church. Many of those last names become very iconic. We have the Rogers, we have Fisher, I saw in there as well.
Father Fisher was priest here for 50 years. The longest serving rector in the entire diocese. For 50 years, Father John Fisher. And of course, the first Bahamian native son, of course, was Canon Lauren George Pyfram. And then the first black Bahamian was, of course, Canon Milton E. Cooper. And of course, coming out of St. Agnes is the first Archbishop that was a Bahamian of the entire province of the West Indies. Archbishop Drexel Gomez was a member here from a little boy right on up. And he is in his retirement, integral part of our wonderful St. Agnes group right now.
And obviously, we're now in 2020. Times have changed. And as times are changing, the needs of the people are obviously changing as well. One of those big things here in the Over the Hill community is really financial needs. How is the church really assisting persons in this community to make ends meet?
Well, what we do, we have a huge social outreach program. And now we are increasing fourfold our budget for social outreach. And so we are really doing our bit to assist with those who are in need. And not only that, we are now in partnership with the government of the Bahamas, with the Over the Hill initiative. And many new ministries will be happening here at St. Agnes and the facilities of St. Agnes. We own almost the entire block now. And so at our very eastern end with our schoolroom building, that will be used entirely for the Over the Hill programs with our government. Yes.
So, of course, some great news there. Looking forward to a great year of celebration leading up to July 12th. And, of course, seeing that you guys own the block, you'll be probably having a block party.
Absolutely. After the service on Sunday afternoon, we've asked for permission from the Commissioner of the Police to close the streets here adjoining St. Agnes. And we do hope to invite all the community of Grantstown and Bainstown to come and celebrate with us. And then after the celebrations, to have a table fellowship with us. Everybody is invited, and we are prepared for all of our people.
Great information. Thank you so much. And, of course, we'll continue to follow this story. LaDawn, back to you in studio.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Now, Fish, I heard Lloyd just say Father Fisher. Do you know if there was anyone in
now
your
you know that I come from famous tradition, huh?
What's coming up?
Respect me.
What's coming up in sports?
We're coming up in sports. We have some breaking news. Do you know about the Super Bowl that's coming up?
February 2nd.
Who are you pulling for?
Green Bay.
You're going to Green Bay. Oh, Green Bay. Green Bay is not.
I know.
Green Bay is not even in the Super Bowl.
That should tell you I'm not a football fan.
Guess what? I'm going to let you work over these guys from Atlantic Medical. Maybe you'll get your coordinates right. That's coming up in sports.
All of that and more ahead in sports.
The Dixon Hill Lighthouse in San Salvador to let you know that marine protected areas make dollars and cents. A well-designed and managed network of protected areas can generate income for nearby communities. From MPA managers to lodges to eco-tours, there is money to be made.
Healthy marine ecosystems help to protect our islands from climate change and other impacts that we cannot control. Healthy coral reefs help to break down fake waves, and mangroves absorb storm surge and help to protect our coastline.
Older and larger fish tend to carry more and healthier eggs than younger fish. Fish replenishment areas will allow fish to grow bigger and ensure that we have more fish now and in the future.
In our replenishment area, fish are free to grow and reproduce. As their populations increase, more fish will spill over into other areas where fishermen can increase their catch and their income.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island, and you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
See the future with Bahamas Protected.
Dawn. Well, the Super Bowl is set for Miami Hard Rock Stadium February 2nd. Who will you be pulling for? Do you know that a player with Bahamian roots will be lining up? Well, ZNF told Sports the first to let you know. His mom, Laurie Bethel Fenton, joins us from Kansas City to tell us just who Bahamians should be rooting for come February 2nd.
After graduating from Hiram Bailey Senior High School in 1981, my experience in Miami has been for me to attend college. It's been a beautiful experience. I have my master's degree in social work. I have a son that went to Miami Carroll City Senior High School and was playing college football at University of South Carolina. It's been a amazing experience with him on this journey that he has taken to further his career as a football player. So he got drafted last April 27 in 2019, April 27th, 2019, to the Kansas City Chiefs. He was the 201st draft round pick in the 6th round.
And now that you know, number 27 for the Chiefs is one of our own. Let's go, Chiefs.
It's nice to know that, Bahamians will cheer him on as he moves forward in his career. It's exciting that they won the AFC Championship last night, Sunday, and last weekend they won the Division Championship. So it's going to be interesting, on February the 2nd of this year for him to play in the Super Bowl. It's nice to know that a few Bahamians are aware of us being over here and Rashad pursuing his NFL career. So we have a few people that are rooting for him. So it's nice to know that other Bahamians, will be, at least have somebody else to root for. So it's been rather an exciting time for us. So I appreciate.
We'll be hearing from Rashad later on today. Meantime, Buddy Hield playing right up the road at the American Airlines Arena in Miami on Monday. Loss of Bahamian on hand to watch number 24. He was 7 for 19 from the field, only 5 for 17 from behind the three-point arc, but hit 2 clutch free throws in overtime to finish with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, helping the Sacramento Kings down the Miami Heat 118-113. Kings now 15-28 and play Detroit on Wednesday. Meantime, DeAndre Ayton, another double-double, 25 points, 12 rebounds on 9 for 14 shooting from the field as the Phoenix Suns lost at home to the San Antonio Spurs despite trailing at one point by more than 20. 120-18 was the final score. They are now 18-25 and host Indiana on Wednesday. Now, there's a big professional golf tournament being played this week right here in the capital. Kelsey Johnson is on that beat.
The second stop on the Corn Ferry Golf Tour brought more than 100 golfers right here to the Bahama Golf Course. Hoping to make the cut was our very own Bahamian golfer, Davon Robinson.
I got off to a really, really good start this morning. I think I was 1 under and inside the cut line through about 7 or 8 holes, but made a couple bogeys before the turn and got outside the cut line, so I got to the back nine and started pressing. Just kind of got out of my game plan, and you're gonna hit a few loose shots when you start to do that. So, one thing led to another, and mistakes compounded.
Tommy Gainey led the field of golfers who moved from the Great Exuma Classic to the Great Abaco Golf Classic that is being played at Bahama Mar. Winding Bay Golf Course in the Abacos was severely damaged by Hurricane Dorian in September. As a result, this year's hosting was relocated to the Royal Blue Golf Course here in the capital. Proceeds goes to those affected by the Category 5 storm. Golfers battled the greens and high winds in Exuma last week. The opening day of play at Bahama Mar was a little better, with golfers producing better scores.
It was a great day out there today. Great weather, not too much wind out there, so I think it was good for scoring if you got it going. And luckily, I got it going pretty good, and I made some birdies out there.
It's always good to make a cut, kind of gives you a chance to compete and, keep playing, so that's good.
Did you find the golf course challenging? Yes,
it's definitely challenging. It's a very, very cool golf course, a lot of kind of jungle and that kind of stuff, so very, very difficult if you're not hitting it straight.
Great golf course, more challenging than I was expecting. I think the whole field is seeing that. I started out kind of poorly and finished very strong to hopefully make the cut and have a chance to win the tournament on the weekend.
And how important is it, to make that cut?
It's huge. Out here, there's only so many events, so you want to try to be able to compete every single weekend. The winning score right now is not going to be crazy low, so with 2 good scores on the weekend, we have a good chance of getting up there into the top 10 and maybe making a run at the lead.
Play continues for those players right here at the Bahama Mar Golf Course who have made the cut. Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Total Sports.
Well, thanks a lot, Kelsey. Atlantic Medical Zest Wellness. That's a new initiative being put on. Naval Miller, he's the coordinator, and Donovan Ingram, he's the manager of that. They are joining us on the morning edition. Good morning, guys. Glad for getting up early this morning with us.
Yeah, very early. Good morning to you.
Tell us what this is all about.
All right, so our Zest Wellness Department here from Atlantic Medical Insurance is gauged towards fostering a healthy lifestyle within these business units. So we have implemented it here at ZNS so we could have a holistic approach to wellness. So we had an exciting presentation here past Friday, and everybody was geared up to join this program.
How did this come about?
So the program has now been in existence for 5 years on Atlantic Medical, but more importantly, our parent company, Colonial Group International, we thought it important to have a wellness program to ensure that persons are educated about ways of preventing chronic diseases. So we have a lot of claims from heart disease, for diabetes, for cancer, and definitely we want to provide the environment where we're creating a culture within the office space where persons are educated enough to make a change.
I thought we would have came up here this morning in our warm-up suit, but tell me what all does this encompass.
All right, so our wellness program encompasses a wide array of initiatives. So we've hosted quarterly initiatives geared from maybe cooking demonstrations to some scavenger hunt challenges and those sorts, stuff that gets individuals engaged, because we wanted to make health and wellness exciting and fun. All right, not a task, but we wanted to make it exciting and fun.
And to Atlantic Medical, this is important to keep persons healthy, even though they might have their insurance there.
Correct. It is important because, wellness means being well, and being well means making great habits. And so we want to create a culture where we're changing the mindsets of those we insure so they do make better choices. We want to present them with opportunities, with vendors that are able to ensure that their success, but also set them up in the right way so that they completely succeed.
Now, you launched it here at ZS. What will they be able to do starting Monday? You told them they were going walking. They didn't walk yesterday, so today is Tuesday. What do they have?
So today, I would say to all ZS staff, I want you guys to be walking. We are right up the street, so I'll be monitoring you all very, very frugally. But nonetheless, though, we have some exciting initiatives, like I've mentioned on Friday, coming up. Also, we have companies such as Cable Bahamas Limited, who is willing to challenge you all and a little step off. So that's coming up on February 17th, and we're happy to launch that.
And I didn't get my watch, but there's also a watch that rates your heart and your pace.
So the idea of the initiative is to pair persons with fitness tracking devices. So we're wearing a Max Buzz device. That's the product that we use through our wellness program. But it's most importantly to get those persons to create a culture of stepping, getting moving, getting mobile, but most importantly creating a great culture and keeping motivated.
Well, thanks a lot. I wish you the best here at the BCB. A lot of persons will be walking today. They didn't walk yesterday, but I'm going to take out that whip and make sure they walk today. I didn't get my watch yet, but I'm going to be walking about 300 miles today. That's good?
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's amazing.
Whip on, Fisher. Whip on.
Thanks a lot for joining us on the morning edition. And stay tuned. We'll have much more with this Atlantic Medical Zest Wellness. That sounds so great.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hepatitis is the inflammation of the liver, which is the organ responsible for filtering toxins from the body, producing bile for digestion, and producing proteins and clotting factors. The most important cause of hepatitis worldwide is viruses, of which there are 5 main types: A, B, C, D, and E. Hepatitis B and C are major health challenges globally, affecting over 300 million persons worldwide. The suspicion of hepatitis may be a challenge, as there are typically no symptoms. However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
In our final look at whether that cold front now across the central Bahamas will continue pushing into the southeast Bahamas later on today. Behind that, we expect the winds to start picking up, so a very breezy day, particularly during the nighttime hours. 1 or 2 small passing showers likely as well. Our forecast for today calls for partly sunny, breezy, and quite nice, as I said, with a stray shower in the mix. High temperature reaching around 75 degrees. And tonight we're looking at partly cloudy and breezy again with passing showers in the forecast. Temperature getting down to a very cool 59 degrees, and your extended weather forecast over the next 7 days, a couple of showers into Wednesday, but those temperatures will start warming up around Friday thereabout. Another cold front comes in here on Saturday night late, and that will reinforce his cool temperatures, but we're having some beautiful winter-type weather for the next several days. LaDawn?
Thanks a lot, Basil, and that does it for us this morning. For the entire Morning Edition team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a terrific Tuesday, everyone.
Watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
And out with the old, in with the new at the Bahamas Red Cross. The details of those stories and more when the 7:30 newscast returns.